Ayumi, it was to be expected.
Ayumi is the girl your mother warned you about, blessed with physical gifts that can short-circuit a man's brain by doing little more than existing. She dresses like an entire evening of bad decisions, wrapped in a see-through fabric of, holy crap, what is she doing with that rope? Needless to say, Ayumi is a girl you'll want to meet, if only to see where things go. Frankly, with a top like that, she can go wherever she wants. But once your ears are introduced to the woman who had your eyes on a yo-yo string, your brain starts to regain function, violently awoken by an all-out assault of abject stupidity.
I could always write on a stone, Ayumi, the world's greatest treasure hunter, was here. That's stupid though. Zero would be really angry with me.
And that's when you start to figure Ayumi out. That's when you discover that there's even less to the woman than the outfit. That's when you finally realize, Mom was right. I should have stayed far away from Blades of Time. These kind of girls are only trouble. Released back in March of 2012, Blades of Time comes from the team at Gaijin Entertainment. This is actually a follow-up to their 2009 title, X-Blades, a game which featured the same premise, the same gameplay, the same bad girl. Blades of Time, obviously, was meant to improve upon its widely criticized predecessor. It covers that objective about as well as it covers Ayumi's midriff. Now, Blades of Time is a familiar hack-and-slash action game. Think Goddess of War, basically. You control the alluring Ayumi on her journey into this alternate dimension, where she hunts for treasure and her lost mentor. The story is very thin, but frankly, thickness is the least of the game's issues. I mean, even a bad story can be tolerable with decent voice acting and presentation. Blades of Time has neither.
What the hell? Spiders? They're huge! Where did they come from? I hate spiders.
Of course, what the game does have are some genuinely interesting concepts for gameplay, specifically combat. Ayumi's standard weapons are her swords, which slice through the air like gymnastics ribbons in a floor routine, elegant to the eye, but fatal to the touch. She can also collect an entire arsenal of guns, as well as perhaps her most devastating weapons, her magic spells. Now, where things get interesting is when Ayumi is given the ability to manipulate time. She can literally hit rewind on the temporal plane, much like Persian royalty have been known to do. But what makes Ayumi's skill unique is that when she rewinds time, it basically creates multiple versions of herself, like clones that exist in each different time. Consult Doc Brown for clarification. So the game tries to combine clone-based time manipulation with Ayumi's extensive offensive arsenal to create some really unique combat mechanics. And in a sense, the foundation's there, but the thing is, Blades of Time completely drops the ball in terms of execution. Rather than skillfully combined, it just feels thrown together. None of the individual components actually end up benefiting from the addition of the others. And when enemies in the past turn their attention to Ayumi in the present, it makes the entire concept feel pointless. Clones can't be distractions when they aren't distracting. If game design is a puzzle, there's no denying this game has all the right pieces. The combat mechanics could be really special, and anytime you have a leading lady who looks like that, you've immediately got most of the room's attention. But the problem with Blades of Steel is it has no idea how to arrange those pieces, and as a result, these blades are just a little too dull.